Olesia Dudnik from the Soviet Union, Gabriela Potorak from Romania, Miho Shinoda from Japan. But then it's the last two competitors. We come to 7 and 8, and Yang Bo from China. I hope she takes it, and Elena Sajanenkova from the Soviet Union, who didn't make the top 36, she's in there too. And the men's, it's the parallel bars final. Marian Rizan from Romania, Gyula Takac in his second final today from Hungary. The other Hungarian, Valac Put. Valentin Mogilny, he's got to be the favourite there, I think. Sven Tippelt and Vladimir Artyomov. Then Li Jing and Andreas Becker.
And these two finals are going to have the arena buzzing with excitement, because in both events we have 8 magnificent finalists. I think I would go as far as to say that this beam final will be the best ever contested beam championship that the world has ever seen.
There's certainly a lot of class in there. Remember, Silevash won the beam gold right back in the 1975 World Championships, the 1985, so she's not that old. Dobre won it in 1987. She hasn't made the final, but not surprising, the defending world champion never even expected to compete here. She came and was expected to just give support to the Romanian team because she's nursing an injury. She's never really recovered from a bad knee injury, had 2 operations on it, but in the end had to compete.
And the girl on the beam right now, Olesia Dudnik, she's the one who's going to push Yang Bo all the way.
We're talking like this, but of course it could all go so wrong. We saw the girl right in our foreground, Daniela Silevash, come off the beam altogether in the top 36 competition, and little Yang Bo in the top 36 got through that most difficult sequence that I was talking about earlier perfectly, and then had a real major lack of stability on the landing from the simplest of little sort of gallop jumps.
Yes, she did, and that's often the result of being so relieved that the big trick is out of the way that the concentration goes momentarily. But I think the excitement, John, is being able to speculate on who just might win. Because, of course, a fall can put somebody right out of the running. This is Shinoda from Japan. Japan's highest qualifier in the all-round event. 15th in the world. That's no mean feat for a Japanese gymnast, climbing up the ladder of world ranking.
There's a Nodi from Hungary going to the Olympic Games in Seoul. Silevash, the beam champion there, and Gabriela Potorak, who is in this final too, won the bronze there.
And this is Yang Bo's big trick. She's warming up so that she doesn't injure herself in warm-up, and that's how gymnasts actually progress. They learn the move on the beam with a crash mat over the top, because the first one's always a bit dicey.
It's so many people in here who've got a track record of winning medals on this piece of apparatus.
Sajanenkova just got onto the beam, and that's really something special for the Russians. That means all 6 girls have qualified for one or other of the finals. The only team in men's or women's to have all 6 in the finals somewhere.
In the most recent confrontation between all these girls, which was the '89 European Championships in Brussels last May, Potorak was the winner, with Dudnik second and Silevash third. Nodi, who's just going onto the beam, took 5th.
And that's the worst position to be in on beam. And she could dictate the psychological pattern for the rest of the field. If she sticks beam, then everybody will feel positive. If she doesn't, then I think that she won't be the only one to fall. Generally has a ricocheting effect on the rest of the squad.
Just 1 meter 34 tall, so she probably doesn't feel as if she's 25 feet high as some of the taller girls do on beam.
And Noddy has terrific strengths, but she also has very apparent weaknesses on beam. Her tumbling and her acrobatic elements are really magnificent, but her jumping is really poor. Very straight-legged, hardly lifts from the beam at all. In warm-up, when we saw Noddy measuring the beam with her fingers, that was the movement that she was measuring. See how far she was from the end. Well, she'll be glad to get that out of the way.
Very confident, though. She went through it all. 1 or 2 little tiny errors, but nothing major.
Meine Damen und Herren, zu Ihrer Information, Sie sehen nach jeder Übung die Note, die Ausgangsnote,
Flick.
die wissenschaftliche technische
Back somersault to the 1-foot landing, and then the Arabian half turn front somersault. And the moment you get twists getting onto the beam, when you have to take your body outside the line of those 10 centimeters, it does become very difficult.
Yes, very hard. An aerial cartwheel, which so many people can perform, is generally omitted by the very top girls in the world because it's a dodgy movement to land. The dismount, the Arab spring, that's a cartwheel with an inward quarter turn, double back somersault piked to finish.
Nervous eyes, and who wouldn't have nervous eyes when you're waiting to see what the judge's verdict is, and you know that a difference of a tenth could mean the difference between a medal or not.
And that routine will give Henrietta a great deal of personal satisfaction, because in the all-around event she fell off. There, Madam Millie Simonescu from Romania, master judge, pointing very emphatically at her screen.
Saying mark it down. Well, it's a good mark, 9.837. Australia there, 9.95. They were mightily impressed with that.
And now to the men's parallel bar final. Marian Rizan from Romania. And he is an excellent P-bar worker, as are all of the finalists, but he has some special stuff in his full twisting giant on the end, Stutz turn, just losing his legs. In other words, his feet parting on the big elements. Diamidov. Held that well. He looked as though he was under-rotated. Good. Fabulous start for him.
Marian Rizan from Craiova. He's 23 next week.
It's the full twist in the giant circle. Of course, the men are allowed to bend their knees at the bottom of the swing. Otherwise, they'd have to shorten their legs a little.
Yes, the parallel bars. The whole routine now has entered a new era with giant circles coming into it. The travel along, so difficult to control that and keep the hands still when you come out of the travel. The Diamidov turn. It's quite interesting. They've got on show here in Stuttgart a set of parallel bars from that were used in the 1909 World Championships. And really, apart from the materials they're made of, they don't differ at all. And they're in such good condition, they look as if they could be used for competition tomorrow.
Reason 9.625.
Daniela Silvash. 2 days ago, suffered enormous disappointment when she came off the beam in the all-round competition, but got her confidence and her composure back by winning that gold on the asymmetric bars yesterday.
And she is capable of producing good work in the finals after her terrible disappointment in Seoul when she narrowly missed the gold. She came back after that to win 3 gold in the individual, and she's going really well. Flick and 2 somersaults, landed well.
Holds on there, and she's looking relaxed in her face. The Romanians themselves reckon that the moment you see her face tighten up means she's unhappy with herself, she gets tense, and to produce her best work, she has to be relaxed. Lovely, the 360-degree pirouette, compulsory element, and she really stayed with it and came out of it, showed that she was in control.
I always think that's a good sign of just how they're feeling, how comfortable they are. That was smashing. Really excellent routine there from Silvash.
Well, we could possibly see a second goal for Silvash. I think if everybody goes perfectly, she won't get it, but she now has done her routine beautifully, and she's put the pressure on the other gymnasts.
Many a gold medal is won on beam because other people make errors, not because your routine's the very best that there is around. In slow motion, a little bit booty around the knees and feet. And at the end of this tumble, she landed a wee bit off square with the shoulders, but just corrected it very carefully.
She did it beautifully, didn't she? Because the great temptation is to be so worried about the correction that you overcorrect, and you've got to wobble the other side too. And her score's just come up. She's really put the pressure on. 9.95. Now that's going to take some beating. A 10 from the Norwegian judge, 9.9 from the Greek judge. Everybody else, 9.95.
Hungary's Gyula Takash, equal 8th in the all-round competition. Just comes straight from the vault final. Now to the P-bars. Hungarians came 7th in the team event.
Very strong gymnast, Takac. I've been very impressed with him in these championships. Step back on the landing. I think we've yet to see his best work on the parallel bars. He's improved enormously, but I think he's on an upward curve at the moment.
Yes, he's just into their national team, so he's being exposed to the big time, as it were, and I think he's on the climb.
Lovely lift to handstand, the Healy turn, another Healy turn, and then half turn and Healy. Beautiful combination. Not quite so impressed with the dismount, which I think we've got coming up. There's the flying back. He just steadies himself again. Bad little readjustment onto the bars there. Another flying back. The Stutz turn. That was one major mistake in the exercise, both hands having to be repositioned on the bars. And I'm hoping we're going to see another look at the dismount, because that too didn't appear to go that well. Notebook in hand, an essential requirement for coaches these days. Everything monitored. And we've got a big disagreement, obviously, between the judges. Some up, some down, but a lot of nodding of the heads, so perhaps they've worked it out. There it is, 9.475. A few whistles, but I think that's probably about right.
And China's first challenge, 16-year-old Chen Huiting. Head spring mount. Huiting really going well at these World Championships. First appeared in '87, where she was a finalist only on the floor. Powerful, elegant, and produces a lot of variety on beam.
Really lifted into the somersault after the flick there.
So far, this is better quality work than Silivash's. Legs much more evenly stretched and split. Finer detail in on the landings, not turning the feet up too early, anticipating landings on the beam. But she's got to go all the way through like that. Oh, bad mistake. Very difficult element, though.
She's the only one who does it. That's basically the Corbett flip. But she takes it up to extension before she drops down again.
Stick. Little jump forward. Have to have a look in slow motion to see how badly wrong she went, but they could dock off as much as 3/10. I don't think they'll be that hard. But coming into the beam unevenly like that is none too comfortable either.
There it is, that lovely start to the movement. She got herself just offline.
She didn't really use her hands too much, though, to shift her body back into position, and therefore they could be quite gentle on it. She didn't bear weight on her hands too much. She sort of wriggled her hips to get back to the center, but other than that, it was an almost perfect routine right up to the dismount. Stretched feet, tight legs on the double back, much better form than Silivash's, but the jump forwards. So roundabouts and swings, Huiting's got better qualities than Silivash, and she had a couple of mistakes. So in reality, the scores could be similar, but I'm sure Huiting will come out lower.
Silivash chatting away with the coach. There we have Ludmila Teresheva in the white blouse. Simonescu and Teresheva, the two head judges. I bet there's some interesting conversations between those two. 9.862. Somebody had her down as low as 9.5, gave her a real hammering, as you suggested they could, Monica, but the others being much fairer. Balázs Tóth from Hungary.
Good to see two Hungarians in the P-bar finals. Tóth in at the Olympic Games. That's a Diamidov and then a Diamidov with an extra quarter turn.
But a little bit of walkabouts there. The moment you see him having to walk down the bars at any stage, that represents probably the most heinous error on the parallel bars. What was nice, though, was the way that he swung in combination into the dismount.
Yes, that was good, but unfortunately the walkies along the P-bars is the same deduction as walking along the floor, 0.1 for every step taken. And so he's really lost a little. There's the first Diamondov, the second here. And he undercuts it and bends his arm. That again is a penalty.
And he had to struggle around there too. I think that was meant to be much smoother. I don't think he actually meant to go to front support there. Do you, Monica?
No, what happened, to get the upstart in, his shoulders were actually behind the bar. And he had to stall himself in the pike position to be able to get any fluency in the connection at all.
So plenty of difficulty there in Balázs Toth's routine, but on the day, a few too many errors. He is from Bucharest, and he's 22 years old. Seems to be a move once again in the men's gymnastics field towards older gymnasts, Monica. It started coming down to very, very young gymnasts, but the general age of the field in these World Championships certainly up and over 20.
Yes, thankfully, that's true. 9.487 for Toth. Few walks and a poor dismount. A couple of major errors, really, for him. Olesha Dudnik from the Soviet Union. Now, this girl is something special. But capable of cracking under pressure. No sign of it there, though. Free cartwheel, 2 straight backs.
Oh, and the full twisting. Such a difficult move on beam, and that time she did it absolutely right. No murmur on landing at all. Well, with those 2 somersaults initiated from the free cartwheel and that full twister there, she's already got enough difficulty in, Monica.
Well, this is magnificent work. Other than a slight hesitation after the mount, it's been faultless so far. Just got the dismount to go. Arab Spring, flick, flack, double twisting back. Oh, and that could have cost her.
Well, I'm sure it has. A real pitch forward. There was no way that that was just some minor adjustment. And look at her face. She knows it desperately, I think, trying to keep the tears away.
Alexandra Alexandrov bending her ear. And the dismount. Oh, sorry, that was the movement on the beam. I didn't see the beam in the slow motion.
That was the full twister.
And there it is from above. Same element, really, on the dismount. She just pops another twist, or even 2. I think it might have been a triple twist on the end. She usually does a triple twist, but it was so low in the start that I'm not sure. I'll have a closer look.
Yes, I think it was. Here we are. She's right at that stage. 1, 2, and round she goes for the 3rd. But look, she's well short, and there's no way that the judges can do anything but penalise her. I would think a 10th would be the absolute minimum.
And of course, not just the form on the landing, the form through the triple twist. It was a bit dicey. Had the legs crossed. It often happens, but it's still a penalty could be incurred.
She got so much difficulty in the exercise, and it all went so well until the dismount. I like the look on her face. Looks to me as if she can handle all that.
And I wonder what Daniela Silvash is laughing at. Probably laughing at the Russian camp, because there's poor Dudnik, the loneliest girl in Russia at the moment, sitting on her own, and Silvash and Goriak waiting to celebrate.
So often you see the Russian girls looking almost distraught or nearly in tears when something goes wrong. But she seems to be able to handle this. Here it comes, 9.937. They tried their hardest to keep her up there. I mean, it was very difficult, but the mistake was major.
Well, we've got Ludmila Cherisheva as master judge on beam, and it's got to be said that the jury has been influenced. There is no way that they can deduct so little for such a large error.
On to the parallel bars. Valentin McGillney has to be favourite for this piece of apparatus. He has exquisite line. Lovely work if he gets it right. He'll be challenged all the way by Artyomov. Oh, forget what I said. No gold. If Artyomov goes through his properly, that is enough of an error to lose McGillney the title. Oh, and a real stutter there on landing. I love the line he gets on parallel bars. That's why I would put him just ahead of Artyomov if he gets it all dead right, but I can't see Artyomov, who is such a pure worker, making those sorts of mistakes. Can you, Monica?
No, Olympic champion. He could well come up and thrash McGillney over those two errors, but we'll have to wait and see, because it's beautiful work. McGillney is the ultimate as regards style in men's gymnastics. And when you're going for such perfection, the slightest little error shows up more.
In trouble there all over you could see the lateral shift he had to get in there. But the positions that the gymnasts take up in handstand are so important on this piece. You see them in such sharp relief, and he gets a better position than anybody. Look at the deep pike that he holds throughout that dismount.
Just shows the wonderful standard of gymnastics that we're seeing. To think that two tiny little murmurs are enough to prevent a man from taking a world championship medal. All the good things in that routine, and of course we are picking out the two tiny faults, but we're only highlighting why perhaps he will not get a medal, why perhaps he won't get a perfect score.
9.725 he scores, and that seems to me about right, much as I would have expected. Gabriela Potorak now to beam, and she's capable of winning this. Took the European Championship last May in front of Dudnik and in front of Silvash.
Yes, I love Potorak's beam work. But those jumps are the thing that the Romanians and the Russians aren't as good at as the Chinese. And this is where the Chinese have got to get all the tiny little errors put together, and then they would be almost untouchable. That's difficult. Double pirouette on beam, but it's a time-consuming element. Very few put it in.
Again, the nice extension out of the pirouette. Instead of getting that foot back onto something solid as quickly as possible. Well, that could have been a crisis, but she hit it quite well.
Could be enough to drop her below Silavash, though. She needs a perfect landing to equal Silavash, and it's not. This was the error. Flick, whip back. Really an unstable landing. A couple of tenths at the maximum.
The beam looks so graceful, you sometimes think it's not hard work, but Potterack there blowing quite hard because there was a lot in that. Here the double tuck-back somersault dismount and both legs having to go backwards to anchor the landing.
And she's probably puffed out because that error probably caused her heart rate to go up, and then she doesn't breathe correctly, almost holds the breath, worried in case breathing puts you off.
Daniela Silavash looking unhappy with some little injury problem. She's got some knee trouble. She wasn't looking unhappy about that a few minutes ago. So I wonder where that suddenly come in.
$9.887 for Potterack. That puts her below Silavash.
Sven Tippelt onto the parallel bars. Oh, he almost missed his hand as he got on there. He's a very small man. That leap to from end to halfway along represents a long way for him. 2 Heelys and then a little stern. Oh, and the double cut. He was up so quickly. We might have hoped that the judges might not have seen, but no chance of that. Went wrong at the start, and he never really got it together at all. Not a happy championships for Sven Tippelt.
Yes, he had a mini crisis at the very beginning. I think that's it. He just reached out for a bar, and it wasn't there. Then he seemed to pull himself together. On, that was quite nice. Giant half. Straddle cut. Just clipped his elbow there. And the rest of it went quite well until he did a Stutz turn and came short through into the handstand. And he really, this here. Yeah, I think this is the one. He was a little bit short. And he was unnerved before his dismount, and I think he was dwelling on that. A little bit of instability, and then he totally blew it, but he was off the ground with his bottom before he could say anything.
I think that, in German, must have been sorry, mate, to his coach. Mogielny actually in the driving seat, despite his errors. 9.725. Gives him the lead over Marian Rizan from Romania at the moment. But I can't believe that with Artyomov, Li Jing and Andreas Becker, it's going to be enough. Sven Tippelt right down at 9.225.
Japan's Miho Shinoda, unlikely to be amongst the medalists. In fact, almost impossible, I would say, because Potterack finished off in 3rd position. Shinoda really not 9.9 material, but gymnast who's progressing a lot, and it very much depends on what the others do.
Somebody there behind her thinks she's got a chance.
Missed combination. Unfortunately, even though the judges must judge what they see, they know Shinoda missed a combination. She had a 2 somersault combination there. And now she's got to try and put that difficulty in elsewhere if she's got the presence of mind to do so.
No lateral movement, but a little hop forward that was involuntary.
Shinoda's lost the thread. It all went wrong. She really didn't get her feet high enough up in the handstand, so I think she's struggling now, mentally more than anything. She knows she's missed an element. She tried to put it in and then had a handstand double flick. And now she's probably reproaching herself for the rest of the routine. Hope she doesn't sit down here. That was good.
The biggest crowd we've had at these championships. Sunday afternoon here in Stuttgart. Everybody packed into the Hans-Martin Schleierhalle. There you can see the little jump forward. Dismount.
It was a very bold dismount and very good, considering that the routine itself had gone a little bit haywire, which she knew. She didn't portray it too much to her audience. We just happen to know because we've watched it in warm-up all week. Silavash still in pain. It looks as though sitting down, her right knee has stiffened up. And Adrian Goriak having a look at it.
And that, if it's much of a problem, of course, does have an effect on the floor final, which we've still got to come, because Silavash will be one of the favourites for that. And she really, there's no question, she's got a big problem there with that right knee at the moment. It's either stiffened up because she's carrying an injury, or I just wonder whether she did a little backflip or two, rehearsing what's still to come, and got herself into trouble. 9.7 for Shinoda's beam. Vladimir Artyomov, the Olympic champion, to the parallel bars. And if he goes through his exercise without any major mistakes, there's nobody who can touch him.
Should he go through it well? It's such a good routine, so well punctuated with pauses and balances. But already I detected one little hitch in his normal repertoire.
Very precise with those two flying backs. Over-rotated the dismount. Nobody actually grabbing this competition and taking it by the horns.
No, it's going to be a very close one there between Artyomov and McGillney.
I can't help feeling that McGillney's crises were somewhat greater. Let's see whether we can pick up the problems that Artyomov had on these slow motions. Just there. He did seem to collapse into it rather than holding it and then dropping, didn't he?
Yes, I think the hit in the handstand was meant to be much more purposeful, and these two he really nailed. I mean, these two flying backs were very good. But then his feet start moving a little bit rapidly, giving him too much backward movement into his double back pike dismount.
So cool, so experienced. I think a lot of gymnasts would have been forced into both feet moving backwards there, but he just one big step. 9.9 So Artyomov looking like the winner at the moment. The moment I've been waiting for. Yang Bo onto beam. If she goes through this exercise without mistakes, she must take the gold.
We know she has scored 9.995 on this routine in the team championships. She is, as it were, the top scorer coming in as well. Oh, brilliant. She's hit it.
But this is the crisis point. Almost as if she was so pleased that she got through that part of the routine. Last time she did it, she made a mistake. Just coming into it now.
Now, believe it or not, that jump is so brilliant. Sorry for interrupting, John, but that is a brilliant jump because she takes her eyes totally off the beam. And whilst it doesn't look like a big element, it is. Oh, wonderful.
Come on, Yang Bo. I don't think she can believe it herself. Goes through with the salute to the judges. But I'm afraid there is absolutely no way. They have to take away the rest of it. Brilliant. She's a 10th of a second away.
And even Daniela Silvash is sympathising with her. That's wonderful sportsmanship. Oh, what a pity. What a shame. But nice to see an amount of sympathy from her coach.
Well, the crowd remembering the wonderful parts of that exercise. This, to me, the best thing in the whole championships.
But I might add that if they only took off from Dudnik a fraction of a 10th of a mark, then why not on her? And she could then win.
Well, it was a much bigger step forward even than Dudnik's, and they penalised her more heavily. 9.8 her score. There were 2-3 running steps. And that drops her straight down to 6th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps.
Yes, the maximum she can lose on that actually is 0.3, because totally out of control is a 3/10 deduction. So they have been kind, and so they should have been, because the routine was excellent.
Up onto parallel bars, Lee Chunyang. Stutz. Healy turn. He's going well at the moment. Really precise.
Oh, yes. Artyomov, watch out. No doubt he'll be watching this very carefully.
I'm looking at that gymnast on there. I think they've substituted in. They have. Li Jing it is who's gone in for the Chinese. They're allowed to do that. On our start list, it had Li Chunyang, but that's Li Jing from China. Li Chunyang was the qualifier, but Li Jing going in and doing a superb job. A happy look in the Chinese camp. Now remember, Artyomov made a couple of little mistakes. McGillney made some major mistakes. So this competition not over yet.
This is typical of the Chinese gymnasts at these World Championships. innovative moves done with immense flair. And when they do hit movements and when they don't make mistakes, they're the only gymnasts that I could call perfect.
The Healy turn from the top, straight into that double front somersault. That is lovely, pure work. And you could see from that angle how well he did. 9.9. He's up in the shared gold position at the moment. 9.95 from the Japanese judge. And Artyomov and Li Jing level at the moment.
A 9.9, not an over-generous mark, because whilst Artyomov's was beautiful, Li Jing had more difficulty. Now Sajanenkova from the Soviet Union, last up on beam.
Probably the least known of this present Russian team. Well, I've just noticed, I hadn't before, it's her birthday. And what a birthday present it would be for her if she could get into the medals. Comes from Riga. And she's 16 years old today.
Oh, just a nice little touch. Popping a one arm on the end of a double pirouette.
The first major championship. A little step forward. Now, I would say she's got to get into the medals with that, Monica.
Yes, I think that she will. What are we now?
Well, with all those mistakes that we've seen, Silivash 9.95 in the lead, Dudnik 9.937, and then Potorak with 9.887.
Yes, I think she could knock Potorak out of her third place.
And that would be a wonderful birthday present. Here the pirouette. And up into the one-armed handstand.
Es fehlt uns noch die Wertung für Elena Sasanenkova aus der UdSSR für ihre Übung am Schwebebalken.
So if Sajanenkova gets better than 9.887, remember, she's in the medals. And if she gets better than 9.95, it's a gold.
But I think definitely Yang Bo has stolen the day. I have never, ever heard an audience respond so well to pure gymnastics. They were sad for her, but they applauded her for about half a minute.
And I can see a wonderful sight down there at the beam judges table. The two head judges are Teresheva and Simonescu. I don't think there's a great deal of love lost between them. And there's an argument going on between them. They're not phoning up any other judges, but one is from Romania, one is from the Soviet Union. And they're arguing about Sajanenkova's score.
And this really shouldn't happen, because they should have an opinion on what that gymnast has done, regardless of which nation she's from. Politics should never come into it.
But we know they do. I shall never forget commentating on the 1980 Olympics, and it got to the end of the women's all-round there, and the great Nadia Comaneci was on beam. She made 2 big errors, and this same lady, Simonescu, was the head judge on the beam, and she would not accept the scores from the judges. It went on for 40 minutes before Comaneci was marked down at 9.85, which knocked her totally out of the medals, and Elena Davidova became the Olympic champion. But Silovash, so calm. She's been around the international scene for so long that she's seen it all before. Simonescu now on the telephone, speaking to one of the judges, in fact 2 of the judges. They are now busily writing. The revised scores punched in. What are we going to see? There are the scores, 9.825. She hasn't even got the bronze. Takes her down into 6th place. So the results of those 2 finals, the men's parallel bars, equal first, equal gold. I'm getting so carried away, so excited. Sorry, Andreas Wecker hasn't even been on the parallel bars yet. And that could change the medal complexion, but certainly the women's beam is decided. Silovash has got her 2nd gold of the individual apparatus finals.
And Wecker, oh, nearly lost that handstand. He really has everything to go for now. He almost has to do a perfect routine. 9-9 to beat. Artemov and Li Jing in the riding seat.
And Wecker doing an awful lot of travelling on this piece of apparatus that isn't meant to be there, but he stuck the landing beautifully. Well, I think he's prepared to wave and clap his hands and try a little bit of gamesmanship there, but he didn't get everything right by any means, and I shall be most surprised if he gets above Li Jing and Vladimir Artyomov.
This is where the routine was going much better. The straddle up elephant lift and the half turn. And this was the highlight of the routine, really, the dismount. He really killed the landing.
If that's all the judges saw, then he would be up in the gold medal position. But Andreas Wecker had a poor start. He very nearly overbalanced. You saw him lose his legs and really have to hollow his back. In fact, if he hadn't been such a strong man, Monica, there was no way he could have held that position.
No, that really was what caused it. The strength in the shoulders, immense strength to hold that position. But we'll just wait and see if he's managed to squeeze into the medals.
Because Mogilny made mistakes too, so he only needs to beat 9.725 to get the bronze. 9.887, that is the bronze for him. Quick rundown on the results then. The parallel bars equal first. The golds go to Li Jing of China and Vladimir Artyomov of the Soviet Union. The bronze to Andreas Wecker with that 9.887. And on the beam, a 2nd gold for Daniela Silovash. The silver goes to Olesia Dudnik, and the bronze to Gabriela Potorak. We'll take another break there. Back for the last 2 finals in a moment. You're just in time for the medal ceremony for the women's beam and the men's parallel bars. The presentation party have just been announced. And Daniela Silovash steps proudly onto the rostrum in the gold medal position for the 2nd time in these championships. This time, though, all alone. Last time she had to share it with Van D.
And it was sheer experience that got her there. Managing to hold everything in the routine. And she knew only too well that there were better there, but they made errors.
Punkten. Aus der UdSSR, Olesia Dudnik.
Olesia Dudnik from the Soviet Union. She's already got 2 golds in these championships. Gold as part of the Soviet team, and also took the vault title.
Damit Gewinnerin der Bronzemedaille.
Third and winner of the bronze medal.
Troisième et gagnante de la médaille de bronze mit 9,887 Punkten. Aus Rumänien, Gabriela Potorak.
And Gabriela Potorak, her first medal of these apparatus finals. Takes the bronze. And Juan Antonio Samaranch has the privilege of placing the gold medal around Silva Sutenek. And the sponsors giving their prizes. I'm not sure what they are, but that one's certainly something substantial.
I think sometimes, John, the gifts are so heavy that they present them with the empty box and they pick the gift up on the way out of the stadium. Boginska nearly dropped hers the other day, so they changed their tactics.
Fünfte mit 9,837 Punkten.
Little Chen Kuiting in 4th place. Henrietta Anodi from Hungary in 5th.
Sechste mit 9,825 Punkten. Aus der UdSSR, Elena Sazanenkova.
Elena Sazanenkova.
Siebte mit 9,800 Punkten. Aus der Volksrepublik China, Yang Bo.
Well, the biggest share of the lot really going to little Yang Bo from China.
And I can't ever remember getting so nervous when watching a performer. Just listen to the appreciation of the audience for Yang Bo. Everybody was with her.
The girl who comes 7th. And Yang Bo, who'd remained totally composed until then, when she got the response from the crowd, it all suddenly hit her. Well, your heart goes out to her, doesn't it?
I think the saddest thing of all is that Yang Bo desperately wanted to win. It's not because the Chinese coaches are angry with her. They give her every compassion, every sympathy. She wanted to win, and she's sad because she didn't.
Fandi won them a gold in the A-bars, and Yang Bo dearly wanted the Chinese anthem to be the one that was played again.
Siegerehrung der 25. Weltmeisterschaften im Kunstturnen Stuttgart 1989.
Victory ceremony of the 25th.
And so by no means a Soviet domination in these apparatus finals. Now the men's parallel bar presentation, and Vladimir Artyomov having to share the gold medal.
Frank Edmonds, Mitglied des Exekutivkomitees des Internationalen Turnerbundes.
Horst Ritter, Mitglied des Organisationskomitees.
Die Ehrenpreise überreicht der Oberbürgermeister der Stadt Stuttgart, Dr. Manfred Rommel.
Erster und damit Weltmeister am Barren 1989.
First and world champions at the Parallel Bars 1989.
Premier et champion du monde au bar parallèle 1989.
Mit 9,90 Punkten aus der UdSSR Vladimir Artemov sowie aus der Volksrepublik China Li Jing.
Vladimir Artyomov and Li Jing step forward and stand together in the #1 spot on the rostrum. And they're the advantage of this new system, Monica, where you come in absolutely level. Li Jing was actually the second reserve for this final, substituted in Li Chunyang, probably carrying a small injury, and ends up with the gold medal.
And this is really what makes it so exciting. Two very worthy performers on the #1 pedestal now. Andreas Becker coming in to take the bronze, just squeezing past the Soviet Valentin Mogilny, who held on to the bronze till the very last minute.
Andreas Becker now has a silver and a bronze, but his biggest piece of apparatus still to come. The last final for the men, the high bar. The last final for the women, the floor.
Artyomov and Li Jing, two of the gentlemen of these championships. Both of them very nice people on and off the arena. Artyomov constantly signing autographs for his fans, constantly communicating with his audience, and Li Jing happy and always smiling.
Yes, Artyomov, a terrific ambassador for the sport. I can remember being in Vladimir 2 years ago when he and Korolev both came back from the Soviet training camp for a weekend at home, and they came into the gym to do their practice, and they were immediately surrounded by hundreds of younger gymnasts in that wonderful center of excellence they have at Vladimir, and they talked with them, explained how they were going, and really sort of enjoyed being with the younger gymnasts before they set about did the practice, because even on a weekend off they still had to go through their exercises before they reported back to the training camp. The lesser places now: Mogilny 4th, Marian Rizan from Romania 5th, Balázs Tóth comes into 6th.
Siebter mit 9,475 Punkten aus Ungarn, Gyula Takacs.
Gyula Takacs.
Und Achter mit 9,225 Punkten aus der Deutsch-Demokratischen Republik, Sven Tippelt.
And coming into 8th place, Sven Tippelt, possibly the only man in the lineup who is capable of getting a medal in this event, and really finding it difficult, man though he be, to hold back the tears.
So just two finals to come in these 1989 World Championships. They're the floor competitors.